Hello, how's it going? This is Ronaldo Hernandez, and today I'm going to talk about me using Nucleus Overload and some concepts of the Light Dumbbell System to grow my lats and my glutes. So, what what Nucleus Overload is, and also the Light Dumbbell System, because they're relatively the same thing, and but the whole concept of both of them is that you're essentially hitting a certain muscle group or certain muscle or whatever. You're hitting it for a certain amount of reps every day, like every day of the week, 7 days a week. If you can't do 7 days, I hear 6 days a week is fine. Cause the whole point of the whole concept is that you hit the muscle as much as you can. Because um a lot of studies show that the more frequent you hit the muscle, the more you see you activate it and you kind of get blood pumping into it, the more likely it will be able to grow. And another reason why is also because the more you use that muscle, the more nuclei is created in those muscle cells, in that muscle. So what I was trying to say is that you get more muscle cells in that particular area, and the more muscle cells you have, the more you're able to contract and kind of maximize the potential it can maximize the potential for yourself to hypertrophy the muscle, which is to grow the muscle. So shit, my bad, dog. I'm kind of like all over the place. That's because I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do it real quick. And but anyways, um, so for the nucleus overload, I'm doing these things called around the world lunges, which is basically I do lunges straight forward with my right leg, then 45 degrees with my right leg, then side with my right leg, then reverse 45 degrees with my right leg, and then back with my right leg. So you're essentially doing 50 reps on that leg, and then you do the same thing to the other side on the left side. But but with this, yeah, you just I just do like one whole set, or one whole circuit of it. But I'm technically doing like 5 sets of 10 on each leg. So yeah, next thing I'm doing is I'm actually practicing on pull-ups. I feel like that would be the best way to really get the most out of my lats and work them the most. Also, I really want to be able to do pull-ups. But I'm not strong enough to do the pull-ups yet. Because I'm all posture and whatever. But I mean, you just have to keep working on it every day. That's really all it is. You just gotta keep doing it and doing it as much as you can. And then the more you do it, the stronger you'll get, or the better you'll get at doing the movement too. Because a certain movement you have to do to actually do it correctly. So, uh, yeah. But the way I do these is I was doing it with a band, so I was using a band to hold my legs and then pull myself up. But I don't know, it wasn't feeling after a while doing that, it didn't feel like I was getting like the best out of my lats. Like I felt like my back wasn't being as activated before, as activated as it can be. So what I'm doing now is I'm doing negative pull-ups, which I think is works a lot more efficiently, and I feel even stronger in my lats as well. Ever since I started doing that, so you just get like a platform, like a chair, a box, get a couple books or something, whatever you can get to get yourself on top of the bar, or yeah, get yourself to the bar. And then when you do that, keep in mind, try to when you get there, try to I wouldn't say retract your shoulder blades. I feel like what's better is you tuck in your shoulder blades and make sure you try to squeeze in the lats. If you can't really feel your lats yet, I suggest you, because it could be a number of reasons why you can't feel it. It could be because you're either too tight, um, or what's it called? You're Either you're too tight, or you don't know how to activate the muscle. So if you are tight, I suggest you kind of massage the area, stretch as much as you can on the lats, and then once you feel like you're more mobile, you have to then you start working on activating the lat. So by doing that, it's just like a quick easy movement right here. So you will abduct your arms, so get your arms away from you, and then you adduct them. So you try to squeeze your arms right next to your body, squeeze them, squeeze them, squeeze them. You should feel like a tension, like right under your armpit, you say across the outsides of your torso, like all around right here. And then once you do that, you can either supinate your grip, which is like palms facing upward, do a neutral grip or pronated grip. But to make things easy for you, just do it supinated. This could also work too, but I suggest you just supinate the grip because that's the easiest way to, get that better contraction, especially if you're like new to it and you never really felt that sensation before. But yeah, so you get the arms away from you, abduct, you adduct. Then once you get here, bend your arms, but only bend them as much as you can, because I know people who are watching this are people who are who have snappy tricep syndrome and all that. So just bend them until you can. But doing this, so I don't know if it's the same case for you, but for me, I'm actually able to kind of bend my arms a little more without snapping. Right here is like my limit. I go a little further, but I try to play it safe with this one. I'm still trying to play it safe on me because I do have better engagement with my lats, and I'm able to squeeze more, bend my arms more without having the tricep tendon or the ulnar nerve snapping. But you gotta take time to it. You just gotta keep progressing. But anyways, for this, you don't have to bend your arms like so much. Just as long as you get like a good flexion, and then also we're prioritizing the lats here. So as long as you get a good tension on the lats, that's all that really matters. So yeah. So once you get right here, you just try to squeeze and squeeze and squeeze and squeeze that muscle as much as you can. What also helps too is kind of like squeezing your arms together. Try to squeeze them as much as you can together. And then once you feel that sensation on your body, try to fatigue it out by just doing it. That's all, just do that if this is like your first time, activating the lats. Just fatigue the muscle as much as you can by squeezing. And then if you have a band, like a resistance band, because this is what I did. I like tied it up in front of somewhere like like pole or something that I'm able to wrap it around with. And then I'll do the whole motion again, the whole movement, squeeze my lats, and then I'll grab the rope while I have my lats all tense up or squeeze. I'm contracting the muscle, and then I try to grab it by also keeping the tension on the lat. And once I grab the band, I just try to walk back as much as I can, keeping the tension on the lats, and fatiguing as much as I can too. Um, so yeah, what was I talking about? Right. Oh yeah, so I'm doing the negative pull-ups, and just be cautious about making sure you're using your lats and your back to hold yourself as long as you can, and then let yourself drop as low as you can. Next thing I'm doing too is single leg deadlifts. I do believe in working the glutes and the hamstrings more, and at the same time, those are what I'm prioritizing. So I do that for like 50 reps too on each leg. After that, this is where I use the concept of the dumbbell system, the light dumbbell system, which is same thing as Nucleus Overload. Just like you just using like really light dumbbells, and you're going for high reps, and you're focusing on like the traction on the muscle. Try to keep tension as much as you can in the movement, and in the movement, and you know for the actual light dumbbell system, it's like a whole bunch of exercises that's like performed, but the one I'm doing, it's not even on that list of exercises. I'm just using that same concept though, of like, using a lot, really light weight, and focusing on like actually contracting the muscle. You know, just so I can increase the amount of like nuclei, muscle cells, more like create a more neurological connection between myself, my nervous system, and the muscle itself. So yeah, I do what I do with those is I do rows. I kind of do it all grip, supinated, warm up with that, or start with that. Then I do neutral, then I do pronated. Pronated seems to be the hardest, so I do that at the end just to make sure I kind of get like a little bit more work in at the end. I don't make it harder for myself. But yeah, um, yeah, I do this for 50 reps too, 5 sets of 10. You know, I really try to squeeze on the lats, and I try to focus on how I start the movement. So, you know, I started by first like I said, it's not retracting. It's not really like retracting the shoulder blades, but you're like posteriorly tilting the shoulder blade. It's kind of like yeah, you're tucking them in. Once you tuck them in, you start to get to squeeze your lats more, and then you bend your arms as much as you can, and still maintain that squeeze. And oh yeah, I forgot to say before I do all of that, I actually practice hip hinging with the dumbbells too. Um, I know it's like really lightweight, you know, doing with the dumbbells, but and doing a hip hinge, cause most of the time people do like crazy amount of weight with the hip hinge. But since my body is, you know, I'm basically rehabbing my body with these exercises. That's essentially what it is. And I'm like retraining myself on how to properly do certain movements. And obviously, I have to, you know, lower the weight or decrease the amount of intensity I have on it to the point where I'm capable of actually doing it correctly. So with these, I just literally I do 5 sets of 10 again, and I really practice on also kind of holding a neutral position on my arms and making sure my lats are engaged. And then I make sure I try to just hinge at the hips, because sometimes people they will move their torsos, or they'll do some other kind of movement to compensate for not being able to hip hinge. But you really gotta. I also really suggest you practice that movement too, because it's such an important movement. The hip hinge is literally the first movement that occurs in like almost every leg exercises. Like the lunge, the squat, the deadlift. You always have to hinge at the hips first, then you bend at the knees to get into that full range of motion. But for right now, I'm just doing the hip hinge just because even though it's such a simple move, but I mean a majority of the people can't even do the movement correctly, and yeah, so yeah, I practice on doing that. Actually, to say while I also do the hip hinge, I also kind of warm up my lats before all that too. It's like a superset, so I warm up with when I get a band, I tie it up into a taller position, and I just practice this movement, squeezing my lats straight up. It is the most simplest way to activate it too, also. But I like doing the other way where you squeeze right here because you know, I feel like you engage your whole back, man. Oh, bro.